And I meant that financially, spiritually, emotionally. And there's just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be 90. There's days I don't have. And I need him to be 100. And he was like, you insisted on that. He's like, I thought it made you feel better. I'm like, it did. And right now I want to take it back.
Wait. So you're telling me that Gabrielle Union, the pioneer for being an independent woman, going 50-50 on everything, is bending and allowing her husband to take care of everything? Let's see exactly what she's talking about. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Big Blue, and we're back with another video. This is an interesting one because I saw this from Anton Daniels and I thought, yo, what is happening here? Because there's a lot of women that go into life that get their influence from these movie stars, these actresses, these entertainment people. And when they live these type of lifestyles, it kind of puts a shift in the culture and whatnot. Now, I understand that, yes, it's okay to be independent. It's okay to make your own money. We now live in a society where it's kind of a necessity for women to also work in a lot of cases because of the way just that America is right now. Other countries may be different, but that's kind of where we are right now in America. So the question now is, why is it that she's going back on her 50-50 rule? She was the pioneer of the 50-50 rule. I remember back when I was younger, when I was in early college, it was Gabrielle Union that really set that precedent of being an independent woman. And she was heavy on it, like heavy. Next thing I know, I see a whole bunch of women talking about they need to be independent. They need to be able to pay their own stuff. They need to be able to do 50-50. But then I felt like it started to come at a detriment to relationships. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes it's a relief when you're not married, but you're able to go 50-50 on certain stuff. Now, some men would want the 50-50 if we're just starting out dating. But once things starts to get serious and I genuinely care about you, then normally in most cases, they'll pay for everything. And when they get married, there shouldn't be no 50-50. There's my portion, there's your portion. That's the thing that a lot of people are getting mixed up when it comes to marriages. Gabrielle Union was married to Dwayne Wade for a long time, and she's talking about some 50-50, and it didn't make sense to me. And then it pushed out this whole ideology to a lot of women that, yo, it doesn't even matter. You've been in a relationship or you're married. You maintain your independence. Let's read between the lines and exactly what she's saying and why she's doing this. She influenced a lot of women in the world for a very long time. And for her to bend on what she stood by is kind of crazy. Let's go ahead and read between the lines of what she was saying.
But sometimes even as the messengers, we need to hear it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And asking for help doesn't make you helpless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Doesn't make you helpless.
Have you had to learn how to ask for help?
Asking for help doesn't make you helpless. That's a very big thing in today's world. Even from a man perspective, it's okay to ask for help. I should know this. I used to always grow up thinking that I need to do everything myself because that's kind of what my dad taught me to do, was be able to do everything for yourself. Oh, you need to be a man and do this and do that and all that stuff. When it's okay. We are all caught in situations we're not supposed to be living in this world alone. But even as a woman, it's okay to ask for help. Like, come on. Am I switching it to gender roles and stuff? Low key. That's because I'm speaking from a biblical sense, but we'll go into that in a second.
Yeah, because I know all the answers. Not like I have to ask for help from a therapist, but, I famously said 50-50 or bust, right? And, and I meant that in every financially, spiritually, emotionally. And there's just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be 90. There's days I don't have and I need him to be 100. And I realized that so much of, my anxiety, I was diagnosed with PTSD after being sexually assaulted at 19. The extreme anxiety, the anxiety attacks, the being hyper-focused on efficiency and time and being fiercely independent are trauma responses. And when I started to really unpack that, a couple years ago, I was a part of my girlfriend Octavia Spencer's show, Truth Be Told, and it was about girls in the Bay Area where I was sexually assaulted, Black girls, brown girls in the Bay going through this. And there was the culmination was on the courthouse steps of the Alameda County Courthouse, the same courthouse I testified in front of the grand jury. And something in me broke, completely just broke. And I'm not even one of those people who can cry on cue, child.
And notice exactly, this is something that Anton Daniels had pointed out, which was interesting. Notice how she admitted that she famously said the 50-50 rule. And notice how she said it was a trauma response. But let's say how she's going to explain everything.
I'm like, bring in the menthol. But something in me broke. And it felt wild. I am a very controlled person. And I was going home every day crying to my husband. And he's like, who is this person? And I was remembering smells, sounds, feelings that my brain, thank God, had blocked out for it was 92. So how many years is that? It's going to be 33 years. Had blocked out. And it came back in a whoosh. And I realized so much more about myself and what I survived and the power of your brain and the power of your body. But I was ready to finally deal with all of it and start the work on releasing the new things that came up. But part of that work that I'm still working on is that trauma response. And 50-50 is I'm not going to be vulnerable enough to trust you with 100% of anything. Not my heart, not my cash, not my energy. And when I started to really address that, and I was like, do you want to pay the whole mortgage? I thought I was about to die. I had such anxiety. Like I was crying, I was shaking. And he was like, yeah, you insisted on that. He's like, I thought it made you feel better. I'm like, it did. And right now I want to take it back, but let's just try for a month. And I was like, I couldn't, like, it felt like there was something blocking in my, from even swallowing or breathing. It felt crazy. Now it sounds crazy to be like, you, Mr. NBA superstar who made a bazillion more amount of money than I do, can pay the mortgage, because I hate the feeling of releasing that to someone. And you release that to someone, chaos can happen. And so these are baby steps. Now, did I settle on about 35% of the more, instead of 50? Sure. But, I'm trying to, okay, you got it. And it's brought us closer because he knows it's not about whether he can afford it. It's being vulnerable enough to be open enough to know that I'm okay. I'm okay as his wife. I'm okay. He's okay as my husband. I'm okay in this family. I'm okay in this home. I deserve it. And I'm okay.
And this is the part where a lot of people are getting relationships mixed up. Now, Anton Daniels had specific things that he says, and I'm generally going to say the same thing, but it's going to be a little different. Now, as far as everything that she's saying, this is what men should be doing to begin with. But at the same time, women shouldn't be allowing themselves to just marry absolutely anybody or somebody because they got money or whatever the case is. It took Gabrielle this long, after she's been married this long with Dwayne Wade, in order to realize that he can take care of everything. Why wouldn't you allow this man to just pay for everything? It doesn't make sense. But again, at the same time, there's a trauma that comes with this. But the underlying message that she's not saying, which is what Anton Daniels pointed out, was that this whole independence 50-50 rule thing was a trauma response. It wasn't something that some ideology that she just came out of nowhere and it's just like, oh yeah, all women should do this. No, this happened because of something that happened to her, and this was the response to it. So anytime when you face any type of trauma or anything that's going on in your life, what's the best solution to that trauma? Find something to be able to cope with whatever is going on so that you can maintain control of whatever's going on. No. Well, first you acknowledge exactly what's going on in your life, and then you take care of it, because that's not the natural way that we should be living. And this is the dangerous part when we try to get our information, when we try to get our ideologies and all this stuff from entertainers that kind of just throw things out of nowhere and stick to it like, yo, this is biblical, because this is not. This is not. And I know a lot of people are going to feel some type of way again, always bringing up the Bible again. Well, yeah, I am. Let's check out a couple verses. Ephesians 5:25-28. Husbands, love your wives as Christ has loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he may sanctify her, having cleansed her by washing of the water with the word, so that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or such anything, that she might be holy and without blemish. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. This is how husbands and wives need to love each other. And a lot of people don't. And I get that. And a lot of people aren't of the faith. And I get that, which is why I encourage people to be of the faith. But even then, you're going to find some people that claim to be of the faith and not really follow this standard. There's a progress that happens. But aside from that, if you can see, it says absolutely nothing about 50-50. It says absolutely nothing about when you're actually in a relationship or when you're being married, that I'm supposed to have my side, you're supposed to have your side. It says absolutely nothing about prenups. All this stuff is of the world. All this stuff is what's going on in today's world. And we shouldn't be living by it. Women shouldn't have to feel this way. Men shouldn't want women to feel this way. Dwayne Wade has done a good job, I guess, of being able to have enough to provide, and he's willing to. But because of the way that Gabriel felt, he's deciding, all right, well, I'll let you do whatever you do to help you feel better. We need to work on getting rid of whatever it is that's causing that, because that shouldn't be the case. Men, at the beginning of sin, men was designed to work. When we get into serious relationships, when it comes to marriages, true marriages, a man should feel like they are responsible of taking care of everything, making sure that everything is paid off, building the house for the family, and making sure that everything is taken care of. That's a man's natural response. That's a husband's natural response. A woman's natural response is to be able to assist him in maintaining said house, taking care of everything that's going on, especially with the kids, because she's the one to bear the children and help bringing them up. So then for the father to then be able to discipline so that they can become good people in society and be set forth into the world. That's the normal. Now, is it tough to get to that point? Of course it is, but it's all about the progress and the willingness to get to that point. But this is why it's important to make sure that you take care of yourself before you really try to dedicate yourself to somebody else. And which is why it's good to really read the Bible, see the Bible, learn the Bible, so that we can understand how we should be living and aim towards that. Understanding that people take their time to grow, but not dropping those standards, especially from a biblical perspective. And there's another video that I'm going to do soon talking about the women and their dating pool and how it's decreasing. But in a sense, from Gabriel Union, we can see that how dangerous it is when we find our influence, our ideologies from entertainers, and it's not somewhere that's coming that predates them. And now she's coming out and she's saying, it was because I was traumatized. That's where I came up with 50-50. So you're telling me that you're getting advice from a traumatic situation and you're holding it as facts? There was a couple women from Fox DC that gave their perspective on the whole 50-50 thing and being independent one. Let's see what they got going on.
Okay, very interesting here, Chad. Yeah. I would have to say that I agree with her that it does take a certain level of vulnerability to be in a relationship, number one, right? And as I am dating, the people who I'm assessing, like, I have to see, are we on the same level in certain capacities? Because what if something happens and a rainy day comes? Can you come in and save the day? Yeah. Right? So, I mean, of course, I'm looking at it from one perspective, but on the other hand, I do have to be willing to be vulnerable and open, period, to allow whatever happens to happen.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. And I saw some of the comments when this video went viral, people applauding Gabriel Union for her self-growth and doing a lot of that introspective work. And I'm with you. It takes a lot to be vulnerable and to relinquish what you may feel like, maybe power to an extent, So I love this for her, and I love the idea of just kind of letting her man just go ahead and just lead a little bit more.
And naturally, I would definitely be okay with this if she didn't bring influence to a whole bunch of female in the world in saying that this whole 50-50 thing is facts. And the real bothersome thing about this whole thing is not, again, like she's saying, the fact that Gabrielle Union is able to be that vulnerable with Dwayne Wade is great. That's how it should be. Homie can pay for absolutely everything that she want to do. So he naturally should want to be able to do that. Now, call it gender roles all you want. That's absolutely fine. But that's natural within us as husbands, as committed potential spouses. That should be natural in us. This whole, oh, you pay for your half type thing. What? So yes, I understand. Yes, it is a good thing that she's getting to this point. But my problem isn't that she's getting to this point now. My problem is that she's getting to this point now after parading 50-50 for all of these years and affecting all of these women's and their outlook on how to live their life and their independence and even into their marriage. This whole 50-50 thing is detrimental to marriages. And this has been going on for years. And then now she's bending back and saying, okay, it's okay. It was just trauma. Yo, more women have to hear this and to understand that this was trauma. And she needs to full out say it. The 50-50 was not a good idea. It was a trauma response.
I heard a similar take from a woman from an opposite end of the spectrum last night, and that was Candace Owens. Candace Owens actually said something very similar to this very same take. I heard her with an interview with Stephen A. Smith last night. And as a man, I appreciate the ability to be able to lead. I appreciate the ability. My wife, she works all the time. She works hard. She makes good money. But as a man, when you can take care of the house, you can take care of your wife, you can take care of the home, it does make us feel good as well.
Yeah. And it also just takes a lot of the pressure off of motherhood. I mean, being a mom is a 24-hour job and working and just the whole nine. So it's kind of hard to go from just one job to your 24/7 job without some help. And so, I can appreciate too some leadership in that department.
I think we have an opportunity to have a real conversation here, right? Because, and I know we got to get to other things, but for the two of you, right? You two are women who are working women. You have made a good career for yourself. People know you all the way out there. How do you all balance the idea between being an independent, strong woman and at times being taken care of by your man? How do you balance that?
There's no such thing as balance here. I'm not doing it, and I'm dating a younger guy, and it's just a lot of stuff. It's just a lot going on.
See exactly what she's saying. There's no balance of being independent, paying for all your own stuff, going 50-50, but then being vulnerable to your significant other. There's no balance. And for her, she's dating. So it's okay, but we can't have those guardrails up all the time. Take your time in knowing the person and learning the person and being able to get to that spot where you can be vulnerable. But then that just requires all the more effort from the man's side to be able to get her to that point.
Let's put it like that, okay? So I'm not balancing, Chad.
Gotcha, okay.
Funny. One thing I can say is that in my particular relationship, I appreciate, because I am very independent, I'm strong-willed, I mean, you guys know this, but I love how just in that space with him, he allows me to be soft.
Love it.
A lot softer. So it's nice to be able to turn that down when I go into my more intimate space and to let someone else just make the decisions. Yeah, I'm tired. So it's a beautiful thing to allow to let happen when you do.
I personally, when it comes to very important situations, I personally prefer to make all the decisions. Now, call me sexist, it's whatever. Very important situations, I prefer to make the decisions. I will take the advice and I will sit and have conversations with my spouse and kind of game plan. But at the end of the day, what I choose is where we're going. And my wife is submissive enough to be okay with whatever decision that I go with. And that's what it means to be in a marriage, to truly submit to your husbands. But at the same time, I'm giving my life to my wife as Christ gave his life to the church. I'm sacrificing anything else that I could have been doing for my wife. And there's plenty of other things that I could have been doing. Plenty of peace that I give up for my wife. And that's what it should be. And it comes both sides. It's not just the wife that needs to do everything. It's the men being able to do enough to allow women to feel vulnerable. 1 Peter 3:7 says, likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the women as a weaker vessel. Y'all take that up with Peter, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. Husbands are called to treat their wives with respect, honor, and understanding. We're not supposed to just marry them and then just do whatever the heck that we want to do. No. If that's the case, don't get married. The women was set here in this earth in order to aid us and to build with us and to procreate. So we need to make sure that that aid is being able to aid and efficiently. So at the end of the day, y'all, and she's not gonna like fully say it outright that she was wrong with the 50-50 rule, or that, women shouldn't be following this 50-50 rule. I don't know. Maybe she might. This is honestly just trying to really get men and women alike to understand what happens when you rely on people of this world. Because behind closed doors, you don't know what these entertainers are going on. These are entertainers. And to me personally, the entertainment industry is the most demonic amongst anywhere. Is the entertainment industry, because they literally give up their lives and their souls for the purpose of fame and money. So when you get advice from this realm and the advice that they're giving is just coming from their minds, is dangerous for the people. It's very dangerous. We should be fact checking and researching everything that everybody says. I mean, it's kind of hard to do if you're not. I mean, people just naturally don't do that. But let's just go ahead and just take this as a lesson for everybody that's just out here trying to figure out their way of life. If you want knowledge, if you want wisdom, if you want to live a good life, literally read the Bible. And I'm telling you, the Bible says things in clear as day, especially in what we just read. Who wouldn't want a husband that loves them? Who wouldn't want a husband that would give them understanding, that would honor them, that would give them respect? Isn't that what women just want? Respect for the most part. Who want a husband that would sacrifice for him? I'm not saying to be a simp, but at the same time, if things are tough, he's going to put himself down first before he puts you down. If it's something that isn't going to be detrimental to the whole family. Who wouldn't want, as a female, who wouldn't want a husband that would take care of everything genuinely and not expect, if I'm going to do this, then, you need to make sure you're ready in bed by a specific time, this and a third, but genuinely cares for them. Who wouldn't want that? This is the lifestyle that we should be living. This is the lifestyle. This is the standard that women should want to have in a man. But a lot of times they feel that. They also want somebody that's, very romantic and affectionate, but at the same time wants them to make the money. Money takes time. And a lot of times men have to sacrifice money so that they can be romantic or be there for you emotionally. And as crazy as it sounds for some females, that's just what it is. We have to choose. Those are sacrifices that we make. Out here just trying to bash women. I'm just out here trying to say how we need to stop looking at these artists, these entertainers for advice, unless it's coming from a biblical perspective, but really see how things are playing out.